Theodore Roosevelt once said, "The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, who at best, if he wins, knows the thrills of high achievement, and if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly."
I find that if you fill your day and your mind with productive things, the negative things are no space.
In 2017, after we had been awarded the rights to host the 2023 World Cup, Chairman MVP asked me to already put together a list of potential players who could make that roster to make the team in 2023. And this was 2017, 7 years ago. And so we came out, some of the usual names were there. There was Kai Soto was there, the Ravenna brothers certainly, and a lot of other, well-known names. But there was a name that kind of surprised a lot of people, and his name was Dwight Ramos. There was this kid that we had been scouting from California, and I had thought that he would be a perfect fit. We liked his size, we liked the way he played, and so we were already keeping tabs on him, and we started talking to his father. And Dwight Ramos made the list. Fast forward, so many things had transpired. 2023 World Cup comes around, and Dwight actually makes the roster and plays a very big role. Was actually a starter on that team. But very little is really been known. It's known about Dwight. So we have him here today, fresh from a great but heartbreaking stint in Riga, Latvia. Great run by Team Philippines, by Gilas there, to tell us a lot about his journey. Certainly a man in the arena. So join us as we welcome our next guest for Coaching Chronicles, the man in the arena. Welcome, Mr. Dwight Ramos. Dwight,
yes,
welcome.
Sir, Coach.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for accepting our invitation to be here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Feels good. First podcast.
Yeah. Like I said in the intro, we just arrived from the OQT in Latvia. Before anything else, what are your thoughts, feelings, emotion? Now that the Olympics is about to open, yeah.
Man, every day since then, I've been thinking, man, I wish I could have done more in Brazil. Just because it felt so close, we were so close to the Olympics. Mm-hmm. I think if we just beat Brazil, we would have beat Latvia and been in the Olympics. I wouldn't be here today.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be in Paris.
You'll be in Paris right now, yeah.
So it was just so close, and I just can't wait for another opportunity.
Yeah. Well, I've messaged you about this. You really played very, very well. We enjoyed, I think, in behalf of the Filipino people, really the appreciation of how well you played and performed. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But we're getting ahead of the story. Like I said, give us a glimpse of Dwight Ramos, the man, the person. I mean, we all know what you can do on the court, how you are as a player, but very few people know really your background. Mm-hmm. And in all of our podcasts, in all our guests, we like to start with that. Tell us, what is your background?
I'm from California. Pretty much for the longest I could remember, it was just me and my brother doing everything together. We'd play every sport, basketball every day, bully each other. Playing is that's just how we started playing, and then from there, just kept getting better. High school, I went to. Well, I didn't start taking basketball serious until about the 8th grade. Mm-hmm. And then 8th grade going into high school was when I started getting really good and people were starting to take notice. So I went to this modern day high school. It was the top high school in California.
Yep.
And I ended up being a national champion there. I was teammates with Michael Case Jr., his son. Stanley Johnson was the best player on our team. And then just seeing those guys, it was like, I was just 13, 14 years old, but I could see them, and I thought they were going to be the next LeBron. And that's when I was like, man, I want to be like them. And then I just kept going for it.
And then you got recruited for college. Yeah, from then.
You know, the first school that was recruiting me was Coach Kumar in Adamson.
Adamson.
Yep. And it was only Adamson and Ateneo, the only two throughout, from the Philippines, the only two colleges throughout all of that. And I think Adamson kind of felt like I didn't want to go. I mean, I was giving that off like I was trying to go to college in America. So I think they backed off a little bit. But Ateneo was just always there, like, hey, do you want to come this year? No, I don't want to. Then, all right, what about next year? And then 2 years passed at Cal State Fullerton. I didn't play much, so I transferred again. My third year, I went Division II. So I was hoping I'm going to have a big year. I went down the division, so I should be able to play more.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Cal State Fullerton is D1, right?
Division One.
Yeah.
So going from Division One to Division II, I had a lot of high expectations, and I ended up still not playing that much, and so that's when I was like really at my lowest.
What school was this in Division
Cal
II?
Poly Pomona is Division II.
Yeah, Cal Poly, Pomona.
That was my lowest. Like, there was times where I was like, I think I'm just gonna quit basketball and I'm just gonna get my degree and become an accountant. I was good at math, so I was like, I'll just be an accountant, man. Basketball's not for me. But then, I don't know, like, I was in my head, but at the same time, I just kept working out.
Yeah.
I just kept working out, even though I thought, like, basketball might not be for me. And then, I got the opportunity to come to the Philippines with Ateneo, Coach Tab. They still wanted me after all the times I said no to them. They still wanted me. And I guess from there, everything took off.
Yep.
Everything took off when I came to the Philippines.
What was your reaction when you found out that you were in the 23 for 23 list? Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was in Cal State Fullerton.
Yeah.
2017, I'm like not playing.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, one day at practice, they're like, "Hey, Dwight, there's some reporters here. They want to record practice. They said you're going to be on the World Cup team." I was like, "What?" I couldn't believe it because I'm like, I haven't played in 2 years. So then they were just watching practice, and all my teammates were like looking at me like, "Who's this guy? What is this all for?" And then I started checking my phone after, and then that's when I saw the 23 for 23.
The list, yeah.
And that's when I kind of made it as a goal for myself. Cause I was like, okay, so they know who I am. Now I just have to get there. So that's kind of what I worked for. And I didn't even think about it until you said it earlier.
Yeah.
I was on that list, the first list, and I made it to the team in six years later. So
yeah.
That's pretty cool for
pretty
me.
wild, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So now you end up, you come to the Philippines finally, you end up in Ateneo, and then you were redshirting, right? You were serving your residence, and then COVID hits. The pandemic hits, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all know what happened, but nobody really knows, from your end, what is your, the way you narrate it from your perspective, yeah.
I know when COVID first happened, I was thinking, oh, this is just a week.
Yeah.
Just a week. It'll pass. And then they said it was going to be longer, like a couple months. And so my brother was like, hey, let's just go home. And for some reason, I just told him, like, I think I'm just going to stay. And so he flew back home, and I stayed. And I was just in this condo about this about the size, a little bit smaller than this, honestly. Yep. And I was just staying there by myself for months. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I need to be here just in case Gilas calls me. Or just in case something comes up, like I need to be ready. Because if I go back home, there's nothing for me there. Just my family, home, and vacation. But like, I was just too far. Like I couldn't go back without getting anything from basketball. So I chose to stay here the whole pandemic, and luckily Gilas again called me. And then during the pandemic, that was when I had the game I didn't miss a shot.
Yeah.
And then
Was that the Korea game?
no,
Japan? Oh.
that was in Bahrain. We played.
Yeah, okay.
And then from there, the next year was against the Korea teams,
Yep.
and everything just kept going up and up. But I just think back, like how I stayed in the condo by myself instead of flying back. I took that chance just to stay here. I didn't know what was going to go on. I was by myself. This is my first time in the Philippines. I only been there for like 2 months before COVID, 2 or 3 months before COVID hit.
Yeah, talk to us about that. How does it feel just getting ripped out of your comfort zone and being in uncomfortable and, alien surroundings? How was that experience like for you?
I guess what made it easier was my brother was with me.
Okay.
And it wasn't his first time here, but it was mine. So he was my younger brother, but he was actually guiding me, like, hey, this is how we get to the haircut.
Okay.
Take this tricycle, we're going to the haircut.
Okay.
And then
Tricycle, huh?
Tricycle. And we take turns. Someone's in the cart, someone's on the back. But it was crazy. Like, I really didn't expect the Philippines to be like this. But when I got here, that's when I was like, I could do something here.
Yeah.
But it was crazy just coming back.
What got you through those times? I mean, it was very uncomfortable. It's crazy. And then pandemic hits, and then your brother leaves, and then you're by yourself. You were saying that you wanted to be here just in case Gilas calls, but other than that, what other thing? Yeah.
Well, one was I wanted to make sure I was ready for Gilas. I just wanted to be ready for anything, because I didn't play for 3 years in college, and now it's like, man, I wasted these 3 years. I can't waste any more time.
Yeah, like you said, because there's nothing for you at home. Yeah, okay.
Can't waste any more time. And then my girlfriend, Kiana, and her family, they were kind of the ones that kind of got me through, because my parents are back home. So, like, her parents would always check on me, ask if I needed anything. She would always check on me. And sometimes I would go to their house, even though you weren't supposed to.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
You weren't supposed to drive that far, but yeah, I said, I'm going to the grocery store, but it's over there. So, yeah, they got me through it. And just having that belief that, like, if Gilas calls, I need to be ready.
So then Gilas happens, and then suddenly another change of environment. Suddenly Ateneo doesn't push through, and you find yourself in Japan. What was it like? How did that happen?
Yeah, that was after those Korea games. All through this time, I'm thinking once this pandemic's over, I'll go back to Ateneo, play a season or two. I only had 2 years, but I was planning on just playing one. And then I got this offer from Japan, and the year before, I think they didn't allow players with dual citizenship.
Yeah.
And then the next year, they allowed the dual citizenships. So that's when I got the offer, and I was like, I think I was 23 or 22 or about to turn 23. And I believed in myself because I was playing good against Korea. And I just thought like if I go back to play against college players, not going to help me anymore. So I just signed to Japan and went there. That one was even harder transition from America to the Philippines. It was even harder going to Japan.
Yeah? Well, talk to us about that. Yeah. Well, these are things people don't know, right?
Yeah.
They think it's all nice and hunky-dory and all that. But, yeah.
It was much harder going to Japan because they don't speak English there. My first team was not a very nice city. So the only fun I had, it was always cold, always raining. The only fun I had was like hanging out with my teammates or going to Costco. Like going to the grocery store. That's all the fun I had. Like, it's better now that I have a new team, new city, but that first year plus adjusting from, I never really played in college. So I pretty much went from like almost high school straight to pro with just a little bit of college. You know, like I didn't play too many games. I didn't get much minutes. Didn't play at Ateneo. So it was a pretty tough jump. And that first year was also COVID year. Nobody could fly in, so I'm by myself again for 10 months. And I just like the first year was so hard for me because I was like, man, I'm not even that good. I was on top of the world playing against Korea, and then I come to Japan. I'm like, man, I'm not that good. And so I just every year, like the second year.
What made you say that I'm not that good? Was it playing against? It was your games, your performance?
Yeah, I was just every game. Like it felt like it was so hard for me. I was going in there thinking like. I'm gonna be good. I just beat these Koreans. I just beat these Koreans. I should be good here in Japan. But then I got surprised of how good the Japanese players are and the imports.
And that's a pro league, man.
Yeah, and it's a professional league. Yeah. So I was going against people at 32. I'm just 22. They have so much more experience than me. Their bodies are different, and it was just an adjustment that first year. But I can say now, like I'm a lot better than that first year.
So again, 10 months in a new country, nobody speaks English. What got you through those hard times?
That I thank God for FaceTime. FaceTime my family, FaceTime my girlfriend, my brother, and hanging out with the imports, my friends there.
Okay.
It's a little bit easier to hang out with them because they're the Americans speaking English.
Yeah.
Like the Japanese players are cool too, but it's just a little bit harder to talk to them because they're not so good with English.
And then every time you guys had an opportunity, you'd get together, right? With Kiefer, with 30.
Yeah.
Right. I remember with Bobby Ray.
Yeah.
I remember you were talking about those things in our trips. What did you learn? What are the things that if you think about it now, and you think about everything that you've gone through, what are the lessons that you've learned from that episode?
When I really think back on it, I think less of like what I learned in basketball and more of like, man, I was able to take care of myself for 10 months in a country that I don't know. I found the grocery store. I found where to get a haircut. I can't read any signs. I was driving a car on the opposite side.
Oh.
So, like, I'm just thinking back, like, man, if I could do that by myself.
You had a car that you were driving?
I was driving a car, and the driver was on the right, and the lanes are opposite.
That's hard, right?
I was like, if I could do this, I mean, I can do anything. Like I can go anywhere. I can adjust to any life. I just adapt to anything. So that's when I think back, I think about how adaptable I am and stuff. Like no matter what comes, I can overcome it kind of.
You can cope with it.
Yeah, I can get through it.
How is the problem, or not a problem? How is the difficulty of being away from your family, your parents? I got a chance to meet your mom and your dad in Riga, and they're pretty cool. So, and I know you're pretty tight knit in that sense. But
Yeah, I would say that's the hardest part about playing in Japan, is that it's 10 months and I just miss my family like the whole time. My little sister's growing up, and my parents are also getting older. My sister's getting older, and I'm just like, I mean, I guess I'm getting older too, but I'm playing, and I'm just playing basketball, and I'm thinking back like, man, I wish I was there. Like, I could take my sister to school, teach her some math or something. Like, she's kind of over there, and my brother's here in the Philippines, so it's like my sister's kind of growing up
without the two of you.
without the two of us, and so that's when it kind of gets harder for me when I think about that, because I wish I was there. I wish me and my brother were there, but it's just the way it worked out.
So how do you, in the overall scheme of things, when you think about it, how do you make it make sense in your head, or in your thinking, in your emotion, with all of that going on, and still be able to focus and do your job and be a professional player?
The easiest way for me to do it is that I think about, I need to be my best. I need to do my best, just so I could set an example for my sister. And so my parents, like, they worked so hard to give me all these opportunities. So I know, like, I can't be with them physically, but for them to see like all the things that I achieve, it makes them feel like everything that they did was worth it. So that's the kind of things, like, I just want to be a good example for my sister and my brother too, but he's closer in age. So, but yeah, and then try and make my parents like feel good about all their sacrifices.
And what is this everything that you're doing? What is your long-term or your long-range plan? What are you thinking about in 5 years, or 5 years, 10 years from now? Where
5 years, I'll be 30, 31.
Yeah. Of course, you'll still be playing.
Still be playing, yeah.
High level, but
I don't know. I mean, I just, after this year, see where this contract goes, and then see what's next. I kind of try and just stay year by year, because things can change so fast.
Yep.
And then
We always talk about that in our team, right?
Yeah.
How we all need to be very agile and just to be ready and adaptable.
things just change so fast that, like, you can't look too far ahead for me. So I just try and stay and do my best in whatever I got right now.
So obviously everything that's gone on, like you said, the lessons you learned are not really on the basketball or the sports athletic side, but really the life lessons, for you to be stronger individually. And I think those are the things that our listeners and our audience could relate to, because some of them are going through the same things, and you know how our OFWs, the Filipinos, where we have a lot of OFWs, they get uprooted, they're away from their families. When you think about it, I mean, there's no secret that you're making good money. It's a good salary in Japan, and all of that. Being away from your family and all, is it worth it in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, that's when, like, for me, the hardest times is when, like, it's getting hard in Japan. That's when I start thinking, man, is this worth it? Or should I just go pick something that's easier? But then I think about it more and more. And if I just chose something easier, like, it wouldn't sit well inside me, like, just settling, like,
It would
I wanna-
it would feel like a cop out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to like. I don't want to quit when things get hard. Like I want to quit. I would quit when I wanted to, like on my own terms. Like I don't want to quit just like I'm gonna leave Japan just because it's like just too hard for me. I never want to say anything's too hard for me. Like if I leave Japan, it's because I just wanted to leave.
On your own terms.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would say. I would say
Yeah.
it's definitely worth it though. Just the whole basketball journey, the ups and downs, changed how I am as a person for sure. Definitely worth it.
One of the advocacies of our show really is as well fitness. And even when I interviewed the CEOs who've been here and executives, we've always asked them how important their fitness is. I mean, it's a no-brainer for you as an athlete, but I would imagine a lot of people, or well, a lot from our audience would be wondering, what's your routine? What's your regular routine? Like today, it's an off season. Today, before coming here, Dwight just came from a workout. But aside from that, so talk to us about your regular routine, and it not only your working out routine, but everything else. You know, when you wake up, your sleep routine, your diet, everything. Yeah.
I try and keep it the same, even if it's the off season or in season. Just because it feels like there's never off season. I got the Japan League and then straight to Gilas after. So I try and keep it the same, but I try and keep track of my sleep. 7 to 8. That's one of the hardest things to do is like my sleep, but I try and keep it the same all the time. And I would say I try and sleep before 1 a.m. Try and wake up before 9, and I usually do weights in the morning. Then I would come back, relax a little bit, maybe play some games, play with my dog, and then at night I would probably do more cardio and shooting with my brother because he practices with his team in the morning, and then that's when we would do our second workout probably at night. More basketball skills, some running. So I try and get I don't feel satisfied without 2 workouts. If I get 1, it's like, okay, it's like, it's not bad. But if I get 2, that's when I can sleep well at night.
I think if there are any aspiring players, if you're in high school, you want to make it to a college team. If you're in college, you want to make it to the next level. I think you have to take Dwight's advice really well. He's never satisfied with just 1 workout. 1 workout a day, that's for the regular, ordinary player. Is that right? If you
That's
want to
right.
get to that next level, if you want to be special,
But yeah, 1's just not enough.
yeah, 2 workouts, yeah?
That's where I learned in college. It's just like 1 workout is just,
That's what everyone else is doing.
everyone does that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you want to go from the bench to starting, or you want to just go from trying to make the team, you have to do extra. You got to do something more.
And your cardio is, like you said, some running and some other, do you swim or other stuff? No, just mostly running.
Mostly running, bike, the stationary bike.
Okay, yeah.
I like swimming too. So those are the top 3 probably.
Okay. Nutrition, your diet, what do you pay any extra attention to it? What, if ever, what do you put into your body?
I definitely try and go high protein diet. There's times where I'm a little loose, but I always find a way to get back to it. Take a week off sometimes, but that's probably my biggest flaw is like if only I could just lock in for months at a time, I think that would be my next step, like taking my game from here to here.
Is it hard for you to stay on that diet when you're in Japan, or is it easier?
It's a little bit hard traveling for the game, so it's harder to find food, and then there's times where you're just so tired you don't want to cook. McDonald's is gonna take 10 minutes to get here, so I'll just order McDonald's real quick. it's hard, especially when you're by yourself. Then you have no one to.
Yeah.
Why are you eating McDonald's every night? So,
So that's another thing people
Yeah.
don't appreciate, right? I mean, if you're by yourself, yes, and then you're an athlete, who prepares your meals?
you got to be disciplined.
Yeah.
It's hard when you have that much freedom by yourself to stay disciplined. Like nobody's watching you, no one's gonna correct you, so you just need to like have your own habits.
For if this is from me as a coach, yeah, it's an absolute joy just coaching you and working with you. One of the most coachable players you'll ever see is Dwight. What you see is what you get. He's very mild-mannered. He does everything you ask of him and more. And where do you think you picked that up? Where do you think you picked up your basketball habits, your work ethic, and all that? Where did you pick that up?
I think it just is. I just built it coming from all the times that I wasn't playing. The 3 years I didn't play, I had to do something. Like I had to just do the fundamentals. Like I was not a star player on the team. Just to be on the court, I had to play defense. I had to dive on the loose balls, just get rebounds. Like there's games I only shot once, sometimes no shots on the game, and that's where I built like those qualities of like a role player. But at the same time, after I would play, I would still, I'm still working out as if I'm gonna shoot 20 times, so that if the opportunity came that I could shoot, then I'll be ready. But just being a role player is where I learned to just do all those things. And then when I got the opportunity to do more, I never forgot about what it took to get there. Yep.
Yeah. So address the audience now. Some people, they want to be the next Dwight Ramos. They want to get to Gilas. They want to get to the next level. What's your top three pieces of advice?
Top three. I mean, number one, I would say don't skip steps. There's every step in the journey is a big deal. You don't want to just skip ahead in your development. So definitely focus on your own development first, personal development before anything else. Never give up, especially if you're in basketball, anything in life. I mean, especially in basketball, there's so many ups and downs. But in the end, it's going to be worth it. And what else? Third. Shit.
What do you think? What made you become a really good team player?
Again, it started when I was young. I mean, I always listened to the coach because I wanted to get on the court. And then you would have to do the little things. It's not all about scoring. You just have to find a way to get on the court and do all these little things. And then just play to win, like focus on winning. It's not, when you play, you don't think about trying to put points on the board or be the star on the team. Like when you play, you should just be playing just to win.
Do whatever it takes, right?
Whatever it takes to win.
And you're right, you hit it right on the net. And I think right now, one of the problems that we're having in basketball development, youth development, is everyone is really focused on those skills and scoring. And it's important. Make no mistake about these things are very important, right? But I wish we could have some more people like Dwight reminding people that it's not all about scoring. Yeah. The problem is, we have the skills coach who can train us with our, the bag, the skills. But how can we develop those other things? That's I think the question. You make that reminder, you tell them about it. But in your mind, how can the other players develop those other skills that are, that are just not scoring, not only focused on the scoring side of the game?
It starts with the professional players, the professional players have to set an example for the kids that are watching. Coaches that are coaching the little kids. If they're not doing these things, like just because they're scoring, put them on the bench. Like just because they don't play one weekend, their career's not over. They're just they're just 8 years old. They'll cry, oh, coach benched me, but eventually they're gonna think, oh, he benched me because I'm not rebounding.
They gotta learn.
I gotta start rebounding then. If he wants to play, he got to play defense. I mean, it's not like you can't treat them like stars.
And that's a good point. I think it's important also we all idolize the top scorers, the LeBrons and everyone else, but also take a look at who are the players that you watch. That in as much as you want to be following the Jason Tatums, there's always a room you also want to take a look at the Derek Whites. I think that's what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
Just the role models that we're following, because I think that's really very good learning, some powerful lessons there, because this game that we play, and this applies not only to basketball or to sports, but even in business, even in the corporate world. It's not all about the scoring, or not about the superstar salesman or the superstar CEO or executive. There are other skills, and if you can learn how to be a Dwight Ramos, because if Dwight is open, he's gonna knock down the 3-point shot. If he gets a nice cut and a backdoor, he's gonna get that slam, that great dunk. But I think a lot of the things that are less appreciated in Dwight's game, number one is his defensive ability, his rebounding ability. We played Jordan, right? And we said Dwight, he's one of our best 3-point shooters, but we said their naturalized player, what's his name?
Tucker.
Tucker was their best player, and he was their top scorer and top offensive rebounder. And we said, Dwight, that's your guy. Don't let him. Not only don't let him score, but don't let him get an offensive rebound. Minimize his offensive rebounding. And so we play the game, we win the game, we take a look at the stat sheet after, and guess what? Tucker, 0 offensive rebounds. I mean, he did his job. And if we didn't know, if I didn't tell it to you here, you wouldn't even have noticed it. And that's what he means by, those other aspects in the game that you should also develop, not only as a basketball player, as an athlete, but even as a corporate employee or a business person. So, Dwight, you said that you feel that there's never an off season for you, but is that really the case, or when are the times where you just shut it off, shut down, and not be an athlete?
I don't know. It's been so long, I would say. Since 2019, since I got here, I feel like I never shut it off. I feel like the moment that I shut it off, that somebody's going to take my spot. Something like it's like somebody's going to catch me.
You're worried now. You're worried.
Somebody's going to catch me. So it's so hard for me to do that, but I guess my family, they try and tell me, like, you need a break.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you need to be able to give yourself time to recover as well. Yeah. Recovery is just as important. Yeah.
It's just so hard. Like, even though I know, I think I need a day off. Then that day off comes and I'm thinking, man, I don't know. It's like you take a day off, it doesn't feel right. But
well, when we were going on our trips and our training camps, our day off is a 1-a-day practice only.
Yeah.
1 practice a day. It's not like
Exactly.
2 or 3 days or 3 times a day. Only 1 practice a day. So maybe that's your day off. But
exactly. Just one workout then.
yeah,
One workout would be my day.
that's 1 workout. Yeah. Some powerful lessons there, Dwight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, after all of that, my final question is: what do you think is your superpower?
Superpower.
Your name, your nickname is Saint Dwight, but well, what is your superpower?
I think my superpower was probably just being adaptable. It doesn't matter like where you put me. who you put me with, like I'm gonna find my way. I can adapt to any situation, any environment. I make the best out of everything.
I would like to say also that you're low maintenance.
Low maintenance.
Yeah, you know
for
what
sure.
it means, yeah? I mean, that's a luxury for any coach to have. You know, the low maintenance players, hindi mo iisipin. You won't think that he's always going to be there. He doesn't need a lot of attention. He doesn't need a lot of whatever. But you know he's going to be there. He's going to do his job, and he's going to do his job well. What a luxury for any coach to have. And like I said, we're very thankful that you graced our podcast. Certainly a lot of lessons that our audience, especially the younger players, could learn from the Saint, Mr. Dwight Ramos himself. Thank you, Dwight. Good luck. Good luck in
Thank you, Coach.
this next season in Japan. And we're all looking forward to your next stint in Gilas.
Yep. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us in another episode of Coaching Chronicles, the men and women in the arena. Dwight Ramos, certainly a man in the arena.